Hi everyone, my name's McArdell. I'm a freelance illustrator and I'm working with the 890 group to create this new project that we've called Exsapien Out of Time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the work that we've done so far. It's not a completed project yet, it's still very much early stages, but we're really excited about the things that we're doing, and so we're just going to put a little video together for you, and you can see what we've been getting up to. Okay, so I'll just open it up right now. So most of my artwork is done in a mixture of different programs. I'm largely a 3D artist, so I make all my scenes and all my characters with the program called ZBrush, which is a 3D modeling package. Really getting into ZBrush, and it's becoming more and more powerful, and you can get some really amazing effects by using it. I also use Photoshop quite extensively, and so I would flatten my ZBrush creations and then finish them off and composite them in Photoshop. So here we are with our opening page, and one of the things that we're trying to do is we're going to use the emerging technology that's going on right now. So everyone is really into their mobile devices right now, and companies like DC and Marvel are focusing less and less on their print copies and more on their digital versions. So we're trying to take advantage of that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this kind of enhanced graphic novel experience. So we don't want it to be like a motion comic, which tends to be kind of like bad animation a lot of the time. I'm sure you've seen them, where they have bad animated mouths and really stilted movement of the characters, and it just looks like it's not a comic anymore, but it's not a cartoon either. So we want to use certain effects to enhance the experience, but we don't want it to go that far. We want it to still remain a comic. So here we are. This is our first panel. So you can't see it at this point because we haven't got the effects working quite right yet, but this is going to have rain falling across the image, and there's going to be like clouds moving in the background to create that sense of atmosphere and depth. So we're going to swipe through the panels very much like you would with a Comixology comic, but hopefully we can go a little bit further than what Comixology currently do. This comic is produced solely for digital use, whereas Comixology is kind of retrofitted to digital mobile devices. So you can see the way that the panels will swoop in and swoop out. So here we have our two characters, Violet and Jack. So here we have a temporary panel in front of the main artwork with showing the raindrops. But in the final version, we're going to be using Unity 3D to show sort of moving raindrops falling down the pane of glass, and also having sort of rain splatters against the window pane. So you can see that although it's a 3D rendered image, there's a lot of cross-hatching that's gone on, and there's quite traditional inking that's gone over the top of it to help maintain that comic feel. So with this panel, we're going to hopefully use the what we call the 3D parallax effect. So when it's on a mobile device like an iPad, you would move the iPad around, and there'll be like a certain amount of depth and movement because each of these parts of the image. So like we have Jack in the foreground here, and he's on a separate layer to the weapons table, and the reflection in the mirror here is also on a separate layer. So when you're moving the iPad around, there will be this sense of depth that we're doing with the parallax effect. Once again, the hands holding the knife are on a separate layer, so it will appear as though it's kind of hovering over the background image. Here we have a nice image of Violet I'm pretty happy with. She likes her gingerbread men. This is one of my favourite panels. It reminds me of like an old-fashioned romance movie, like something like Gone with the Wind. I think it's quite a dramatic pose, and we have a nice effect coming up. So as the panel rotates, and then we have a bit of a surprise for the reader when this next panel comes in and she takes a bite out of him. Okay, so here we have the research facility, and this is one of the panels that's going to have some really nice effects over it. So once again, it's going to be quite simple, but hopefully really effective. So we'll have the rain, which at the moment is just static, but the rain's going to be falling, and also we're going to have this searchlight rotating, moving back and forth, and possibly the lights on the buildings are going to be moving around as well. So it should be really nice. It should create like a nice moody atmosphere. And here's another one where the 3D parallax effect will be really cool. The background, the building is on a separate layer from the hands holding the chain link fence, so it will have that nice sense of depth, and we'll also have maybe a little bit of mist creeping across the bottom. So Shay, our web developer, has done a really nice job of making the panels kind of swoop around. I think the transitions are really nice. This is another panel that will be pretty nice once it's finished. It's I'm quite happy with the art by itself, but with the enhancements, we're going to have like the flickering flame of the cigarette lighter, and also we'll have some moving smoke. So we'll have like particle effects, very similar to stuff that you might get in programs like After Effects, but it's going to be a little bit more advanced by using Unity 3D. And our main character, Jack, is a knife man, so everyone needs to watch out if they get in his way, as this poor security guard just learned for himself. So working in 3D, it's really nice. When I created this this hand for Jack, and you can then kind of create like a layer that really hugs the skin, and you can shape it and add a new texture to it, and add a new color, which is how I created this blood effect, and it's really effective, I think, and I'm just really happy with how that worked out, that particular panel. This one is going to be really effective in the final version, because I've been working in 3D. You can actually turn these lights on and off. So I have another version of this panel where the lights are off and the shadows all fall differently. So when you flick back and forth between those two panels, it creates like kind of like a flickering strobe effect, almost like the fluorescent lights are on their last legs, and it creates this sort of derelict ruin sort of appearance. So this is going to be a really good one. Here's one of our more ambitious panels. So the idea with this one is to show the security station, and we want to have our readers be able to double tap on each of the screens, and once they do that, they will kind of pop up, and you'll zoom in on the actual security screens, and you'll see them more closely. So we haven't got that working quite right yet, but you'll get the idea just by scrolling through this version. We have Jack creeping up on another one of the guards. And so we've switched back um, to the sort of root image, and the screen that did previously show that image of Jack creeping up is now turned to static, and we're going to use Unity to create that static effect, and it's going to be moving, and so we'll have the same sort of particle effects coming from the cup of coffee to create sort of like a steaming look, and then the reader can tap on the next panel again, and here we go. And coming from this broken cable, we can have like a sparking particle effect again, and back to the main image, and again another screen has turned to static. So it's like Jack is kind of creeping through the facility, cutting wires and cutting the security feeds. And here we have our imprisoned scientist. So this time, when we've gone back to to that main image, there's a new addition, and that is Jack's pistol hand creeping up behind the guard with a suitably cheesy line, because Jack's all about basically being full of gags and puns and driving everybody crazy. A few people have said that this guy looks like Gandhi. I guess he kind of does a little bit. So you can see there's some really nice transitions from panel to panel. It's the nice thing with working purely digital. You don't have to worry too much about page layouts, because each panel kind of becomes a splash page in its own right. This is one of my favorite panels. It took a pretty long time to create that. I had to build the containment field. So remember, it's all a 3D model, all made in ZBrush, with various different lighting effects and different render effects. And I think it created a really nice atmospheric image. We do have the potential to actually have certain things like rotating in 3D. So this is an option for this panel, would be to show the device within the field kind of spinning on its axis, but we're not sure if we're going to actually do that yet. So this is another panel where I've taken like two different renders of it, where one with one type of lighting and another with a second kind, and it's going to create an alarm sort of flashing light effect. In this case, it's just temporarily put in there so you can see the different image, but it hasn't actually been set up yet, so it creates that effect. Our letterer Taylor did a really nice job here. I can almost see Jack's hand moving as he taps in the coordinates. And this is one where you can see a typical Photoshop effect coming into play, the motion blur, or the radial blur, I think in this case, to create that sort of sudden surging forward of motion. Now this is the fight scene, very much inspired by the Korean movie Old Boy. If you've seen that, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's an insane corridor fight scene. If you've seen the new Daredevil series, it's a little similar to that as well. I couldn't be quite as ambitious as they were in Old Boy, but I think this one works out pretty well. It's actually one huge long panel. It's all of these images are just part of the same picture. It's pretty gruesome at times, our story. We don't pull our punches in terms of the violence. And Jack is actually a British character. Don, the writer, is from the States, and I made a suggestion that that maybe Jack could be British, because I always saw him as this slightly twisted sort of Robin Hood character, and Don liked the idea, so we've stuck in a few a few Britishisms. So bloody hell, stuck that one. That's a very British thing to say, I would say. So here comes Jack's Great Escape. So this is the intertime device being activated for the first time, and basically transporting Jack out of harm's way. But unfortunately, the security guard Tate gets caught in the field as well, but only partially. So he wasn't protected by the actual device. So he comes to a rather gruesome end, as you'll see any moment. So what we're trying to do is we're really trying to create a new genre, really. Don likes to call it the neo-novel, and this is going to be focused solely on for release on digital devices, and yeah, we really think that there's a lot of possibilities out there, and nobody has really capitalized on it yet. There's been certain people have made really good attempts. There's one that has been a big influence is the Peugeot comic book trailer. That's it's really amazing. If you want to see a great example of a motion comic, just type in Peugeot comic into Google and you'll find it. It's incredible, and that was a big influence on us. But besides that, there's not that very many good motion comics. Like I said at the beginning, there's a lot of bad animation out there, and we want to just keep it a comic but enhance it and make it a little bit more than a comic. So here, finally, we have the heroes of our series, almost, at least one of them. This is Orpheus Knight, and I just think that's an amazing name. I keep telling Dom, that name is a winner. If you want a memorable hero name, that's it, Orpheus Knight. And here he is getting finally called back into action after a long retirement. And here we are coming to the end. So I hope you've enjoyed watching our little proof of concept. It's not quite there yet. We still think there's room for improvement, and of course the effects aren't there yet. So I'm sorry I had to basically describe the whole thing to you, but we think it's going to be really amazing. We hope that you get excited by what we want to do, and here we are just coming to the end credits, and we have in typical Marvel fashion, we have a post-credits scene. So I hope you stay till the end for that. And here we go. And this is our main character, the Exsapien herself, Millennia, just waiting to get woken up. So this is actually who the story really revolves around. We did the trailer focusing on the villains of the piece, but she's our heroine. So we hope that you'll come back in future and check out her adventures. Okay, thanks a lot, and take care. Goodbye.